user inputs, which are something that's used a lot. And I'm just going to go through these areas here, and there'll be a little exercise coming up soon where you need to sort of replicate what I'm doing here and solve a problem. So taking a user input and be aware that data types are strings and integers. Okay, so first of all, let's take in a name. So how are we taking a name? So we could say, let's just call it user as a variable input. And because it's a string name, because it's a string, we don't need any integer command. So we could just say enter your name. And we're going to take in two numbers. So numbers are different from names, obviously, string, integer. So let's say num1 equals int input. Notice that we've got two brackets here, so we need two brackets there. Okay. Enter first number. Let's call it that. And enter second number. I suppose what we could do, we're going to multiply them. Okay, I've written to myself multiply them. So we can make a variable here to hold that. Then we're going to go back and keep in touch with what we did previously and output everything into a sentence. Okay. Now remembering we've got two data types here. So before I take all of that in, what I could do is say total equals, what's it going to equal? Num1 times num2. So here, and you can see this is structured, it's working in a linear way. I'm taking in a name, I'm taking in two numbers, I'm then assigning a variable to hold the sum of these two numbers here. Okay, so then we're going to make a sentence with that variable and that variable. Let's just run that to check for errors. Let's just put Jim in. Oh, sorry. First number 3, second number 4. Okay, and nothing came out because I didn't print anything. Okay, you can put a print in there. It's very good practice when you're coding, and I'll give you an example of it here. To at certain stages output to make sure you're getting the right output that you need. So you're not getting any logic errors, because a logic error won't stop the program. It'll just give you an error, and you may miss it if you don't test. You need an iterative test, okay? Which means testing as we go along. So once we complete this little area, we should test it. I will print here just to check. And it's a really good idea to do that. A lot of my students say they've got errors and they write I don't know, maybe 20, 30 lines of code. And at some point, what I do is go back and say, okay, so we can print out at this point to see what you get in there. And if there's something wrong there, we can deal with that at that point. And then we go to the next point, and that's how we manage our code. Okay, so let's just run that. Jim in again. Let's put 3, let's put 4, and we get 12. So we know that's running correctly. Okay, so output everything. Okay, so we could say something like, let's say Jim. Okay. So we need the user's name, so we're going to say plus user. Okay, remember concatenation. Concatenate again. We could say your two numbers multiplied equal. And what do they equal? Right. What's the problem we're going to encounter here? You should know by now. All right. If I did this total, we should get an error, because we know that total here is an integer and this is a string, okay, which is no good for us to combine. So in previous video, I showed you how to cast, okay? So we could cast that total variable here. We could say, let's call it, I always say string and then the name of my variable. That just helps me. String and then total. Okay, so now we've cast our total variable to a string. And all I need to do is put this here. So string total. So all the maths has been done here, and we've just set it to a string. Let's run that. Oh, no, we need gaps. Let's put our gaps in. Multiply equals, put a gap in there, let's have a look. Let's try that. Errors, 4, 5. Look at that, your two numbers multiplied equals 20, and I forgot to put a gap on max there, okay? So, okay, so as we go through these little exercises, you will learn how to structure your code, how to cast things if you need to, and how to output all the different variables you have together. I'll see you for the next video.